and all the excitement over the competition, I completely forgot we've got a whole other project to do today. Well, we got to put in a new mailbox. The first one was decimated, and I don't just want any mailbox. I want a really great one. That's why we asked woodworker Ron Brown to stop by. He is a master craftsman. Ron, how you doing?
Doing great.
Good to see you. So, Ron, what kind of woodworking do you do?
Well, Chad, I'm a trim carpenter, and I do a lot of custom cabinets.
You have a specialty?
I do have a specialty. I build custom furniture by commission.
And last question for you. How much wood would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood?
Well, Chad, he would as much as he could. And he would chuck as much wood as any other woodchuck would if a woodchuck could chuck wood, which coincidentally is just the amount that we're going to need today to build our special mailbox for the man-made movie.
Well, that's great. Now, I just want to tell you something. I don't want any old mailbox, right? I've seen a lot of mailboxes in my travels, and they all pretty much look the same. I want something unique, something special that screams man-made movie. And I do want it to meet the U.S. Postal Service regulations, but I also want it to look something like this. So, Ron, can you do something like that for us?
I think I can do something you'd be happy with.
I'm glad to hear it. All right, well, while Ron gets cracking on this monumental task, why don't you guys get back into the man-made movie right now on TBS Superstation. You play horseshoes?
Against you? Sure.
I recorded 16 different segments with a man-made movie, so I decided to present Chad Taylor his very own cool hammer with his name cut all the way through. When I handed Chad his very own hammer with his name cut all the way through, he looked at his producer and with eyes of steel said, "This is mine, I'm taking it home." Some Hollywood type thought it would be a good idea to make a coat rack out of a dead tree that they cut down on the property. So they saved this stick, and my job, one of the early projects I did for them, was to make a rustic coat rack out of a tree stump. I see you, sweet Janice. I'm down here. These next few slides are just pictures of the house because one of the upcoming projects is they asked me to make a house replica for use as a mailbox. And these are some of the shots I needed so I could build a house.
So, Ron, is the mailbox finished?
Ta-da!
Ah, look at that, huh? We're going to find out how he did it when we come back to the man-made movie.
When we were talking about building this mailbox replica, I asked them what their budget was because I could make it almost photorealistic if they wanted to. It depended on their budget. And they said, stop when you get to $500, so here's what they got.
Hey everybody, you're watching the Man-Made Movie where we have conned Ron Brown into building an amazing mailbox for us. So Ron, what was the hardest part about putting this together?
The hardest part of putting this together was really just where to start.
Yeah, we had that same problem building the big one. So talk us through what you did.
The way I built this was first to make a full-size scale drawing that approximated the house, and I still wasn't comfortable with that. So I actually went ahead and built a full-size model out of 1/4-inch foam board so that we could see all the construction details and I could actually figure out how to put this thing together for you guys here at the Man-Made Movie.
And if I'm not mistaken, it's the same house that fell on the Wicked Witch of the East. Did you use any special tools putting this on?
I built most of the house with a standard 10-inch shop-grade table saw, but all the little details here with the doors and the windows and matching the glass up there I did on a scroll saw.
Well, I gotta say, it's very impressive. I don't think there is anyone that has a better mailbox than this. And Ron, this meets U.S. postal regulations?
We're 100%, Chad.
Wow, this is fantastic. What?
Hey, you guys want to ride down to the horseshoe pit?
Sounds great. All right, while we're getting a ride back, why don't you guys head back into tonight's Man-Made Movie? Ah, beautiful color.
Quiet on the set in 5, 4. If the game was on and you were sitting there drinking enough beer and you couldn't get up to go to the bathroom until you got a break, you might have to exit pretty quick. Well, this fireman's pole would let you get to the bathroom in one big old hurry. Yes, I used it. It was great. On the extreme left of your screen is an old-timey English telephone booth, and that's where the entrance to the fireman's pole was. One of the things that they were most impressed with was how I could inlay their logos in various woods: mahogany, maple, and black walnut. I did a couple of them. One of them ended up inlaid in a bowling alley floor. I understand that corporate was so impressed that they confiscated these and took them to the corporate office. We used motorhomes as portable dressing rooms, and unfortunately I had to share mine with two of Falcon's cheerleaders. All of the commodes were in the basement, and they were themed. There were three of them. One was an aquarium. I don't have pictures of that, but one is a throne room, and the other one was a library. Pretty cool. This is inside the great room in the house, and there was a switch where the basketball goal actually pivoted, and a moose head was mounted on the other side of it. The kitchen was one of those brand new stainless steel portable barbecues with a big giant vent hood, but if you look in the back, there is a commercial cooler, and it was stoked clear full of Mike's hard cider. The biggest project they asked for were old-timey saloon doors with slats in it, louvered slats. The bottom had to be curved and the top had to be curved. I had loads of fun, had to charge them a little extra, but project turned out great. Got to do a lot of camera time on this one, and they loved it. Miss Janice accompanied me on the shoot, as you can see, and I have to say she was probably the best thing about this whole deal. That's right, I'm having fun. Man, could I get used to this.
Last question for you. How much wood would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood?
Well, Chad, he would as much as he could. And he would chuck as much wood as any other woodchuck would if a woodchuck could chuck wood, which coincidentally is just the amount that we're going to need today to build our special mailbox for the Man-Made Movie.
Well, that's